Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark, and this is the Game Vault Pod News Hour. Hope you have been enjoying your 4th of July break so far. Still have 2 more days to go. Get a couple barbecues in if you can. Maybe hang out with your friends. But for now, I'm thankful that you joined me for the news hour this evening. If you're listening to the podcast, I hope you had a great July 4th weekend. Looking forward to Labor Day when it comes up. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into what I've been playing. So this week we actually have a good bit to talk about. Because I have went back to a game, and I've also started a new game, and have had differing results with the two of them. And then plus we'll talk about all the stuff, because we got some big news on 2 of the games that we're playing for stream. So first off, we start off with the first game I went back to with the whole thing about the Elden Ring DLC. I decided to jump back into Elden Ring itself because I got to like level 55, so I'm not really that far. I've beaten 3 of the main bosses. I just got into the capital. So, if those of you that played Elden Ring, you'll know exactly how far and how much I have remaining and how many more bosses I have. But, what I've been doing is relearning the game and using it with the skills that I apparently picked up in the 2 years since playing the game the first time. I think it has a lot to do with playing certain games and, just getting in the habit of playing that stuff. So, I've been having a good time with it. Still frustrating as hell. I think the main thing for me, the main caveat of Souls games, that sort of, I guess, I don't know the word, is what discourages me. Not so much the difficulty. Difficulty's fine. I don't mind banging my head against something, a lot of times in a row. I think the big thing for me is the whole how you level up, essentially. I'm not really a fan of grinding systems. So the idea of, like, for example, I beat a boss, and I died at the same time as a boss. And in this game, thankfully, when you die at the same time as a boss, you get their souls or runes in this case. You just have to go back and collect them from the boss room. And me, I missed a small platforming thing, fell to my death, lost all those souls. So I legitimately lost 9,000 souls, something like that, or runes, just because I missed a platforming jump, even though I deserve to have those souls. I think it's kind of bullshit. In that way, I think you should keep everything you've earned. I think it would help me level up a lot more and be a lot less frustrated with the game. But that is the game, and I hold nothing against it. It's just, I'm not as good at it as most people, so the whole, I lost 10,000 souls, I'll just go get them back. I'm not good enough to do that. I think there's kind of like a farming area that I heard about that could get me some souls pretty easily without me having to do much. I'm looking forward to getting to that. But the game itself, minus the whole rune soul part, which is the thing I've had problems with Dark Souls, from a personal standpoint, I think if I was scoring the game, it wouldn't change the score of the game, because I think it's a personal thing, because I'm not as good at them as most people. But I've beaten some bosses that I haven't been able to beat before, just because I've been leveling up a little bit more, knowing how to level up. And I changed my weapon. For some reason, I was using claws, like the Wolverine claw things. I finally got my strength up enough that I can two-hand the Blood Fang sword. I forget what it's called. It's the one that causes bleed. So I'm two-handing that now when I use a weapon, but I'm a magic boy. So I've been doing that too. And then I've learned a couple more spells and have gotten, I beat the, this is probably old hat for a lot of people who played the game, but I beat the boss at the bottom of, like, the first keystone thing you can do. Like you when you come down from the beginning of the game and it's the first walled off area that you need a special item to get in. I got all the way down there and I just couldn't beat him. And then I think I leveled up enough. Thank you, Tom. And I was finally able to beat him. Using the summon system, and the best part about the summon system for me is it's not so much that the summon like dominates. Like when you call in somebody, they tend to dominate, which is fine with me because as I said, I'm a magic boy, so I stay in the back and shoot my little spells off. But what he does, especially in a close quarters fight, like the tree thing is at the bottom of that dungeon, is it distracts it enough that I can, take a drink of the potion and then get back in the fight. So yeah, but that's the thing. That's on the flip side of me arguing about the losing souls and runes thing. On the flip side, it is such an accomplishment, and it's a feeling I cannot describe to you while playing these games, as bad at them as I am. When you see you progress and defeat something that you've been having trouble with, when you go back to it after leveling up and learning things a little bit, and you go back and you beat the thing you've been having trouble with, that is such a weird feeling that I can't describe. It's a good feeling, but yeah. So I've been doing back doing that. That's mainly been the game. To be honest, I'm treading water until July 19th when NCAA 25 comes out. At this point, and then everything else that I want to play comes out September forward. So I'll get a good month with that game or more, probably more. But I'm basically treading water at this point. Elden Ring's been perfect. Because it's something you can keep just pounding at, and just, you don't get to the point where it either feels worthless, or you're always feeling like you're gaining, moving forward, progressing, as I said earlier. So, yeah, been having fun back in Elden Ring. The other game I picked up, which I thought would carry me for a couple weeks, but I feel like I'm going to be in and out of it. I picked up Hearts of Iron 4, which is a strategy game from Paradox, which is basically World War II 1, where you can either take over any of the big known powers at the time, all the way down to you can play as Canada, Australia, like anything that sort of had a piece in the war, or you can pick any country in the world, essentially, and try and make them dominate. So, little by little, I'm learning that game. That game is way more complicated than I thought it would be. I thought it would be closer to a, civilization risk type ideal of, being able to, armies here, turn-based and things like that. But it's much more real-time. More like a, I don't know what game to describe it as, but more real-time than, then you each get a turn and I get to see what I can do. I had a fun thing where I was just because I wanted to learn the battle mechanics of it more than anything, I picked a playthrough as the Soviet Union, and after building up my stuff and setting up my generals and all that, I just decided to test the invasion system, and I invaded Estonia, which was pretty easy. Just sort of wiped them off, and nobody was really, allies with Estonia, so I got to just claim it, and nobody really bothered me about it. And I was like, all right, let me try and take over, slowly but surely, all the smaller Eastern Bloc countries right outside the Soviet Union. And then I fucked with the wrong person. I think it was either Latvia or one of the other ones. Right there. Lithuania, maybe. One of them's right there. And pissed off the British and the French. And I had forgotten to, protect my entire border. And as I was sort of fighting off the Latvians and trying to take over their country, I noticed the British had paratrooped in from Finland, and was taking over that part of my country. And then the French were coming in from the south through Africa and the Middle East and all that. And all of a sudden, I lost Moscow, half of my the western part of the Soviet Union in a matter of 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can't. You have to like do this slowly and build up stuff and have defense. It's like, it's not one of those like. There's times in civilization where you can get good enough, and turn powerful enough in terms of armies and having, should have powerful armies and stuff like that, and you can just roll and nobody challenges you because you've basically secured everything. But yeah, I completely forgot about the fact that paratrooping was a thing, because literally the British paratrooped in the Leningrad and I was done. Because I wasn't paying attention to them, and all of a sudden I see this part in the up by Leningrad, up near Finland. It just turned pink for the United Kingdom, and I'm like, oh, and then I started trying to fight those back, and then from the bottom of the screen, I should have really recorded this, and from the bottom of the screen, I just start seeing blue coming up slowly from my southern border, up and towards Moscow. And that was the French, or Free France, as they're called at this point, or at that point in the war. And yeah, it was funny, and I'm like, ooh, I have to learn some things, or maybe not pick a country that's so big, because I was also getting fucked with by the Japanese on the other side, over by Korea. So yeah, it turned into a whole bit of a shit show, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to start over with something else. The first fun one was, I was in the United States. I'm like, you know what? I'm learning this. Mexico, when they become a junta, they side with the Axis in this game. And I think they did in real life, too. I'm not 100% sure. So I was like, I'll take them over, Screw them. They joined the other side, blah, blah, blah. Well, at that point, I didn't realize how to run the war. So I essentially was like, I'm coming to invade you and, get you back for this. And then I didn't know how to send my troops in. So my troops kind of just stood still. And then the Mexican army just kind of pushed up the West Coast. And then the Germans started getting places in the United States. And I was just like, oh, I am playing this game completely wrong. So Hearts of Iron 4 has been a learning curve that I am still learning. Probably going to take me a while. But I'm having fun with it. It's leading to laughter more than frustration. And the problem is I haven't played it enough to be able to recover from situations like that. So I still have ways to go. So I'll probably play it on easy a little bit and just sort of learn the mechanics and stuff. So yeah. So that's been the two new games I've really been playing. Elden Ring, getting a couple bosses done. Not big bosses, but oh god, I wish Big Boss was in this game. That'd be awesome. Big Boss was in Elden Ring. And then playing Hearts of Iron 4. I might jump into American Truck Simulator tonight, possibly. I bought the package to get Kansas and Nebraska. So, jump in and just see what that's like. Probably not much different than the other ones they put in there, because there's not much difference in those places. Once they start putting in football stadiums and stuff. But, yeah. So, on to what I've been playing on stream. It's a light news day. So, talk about a lot of Kansas-Nebraska Act. Yes. Let's play some Civil War games where I'm really terrible and the Confederacy wins because I don't know how to protect anything. Yeah, I would lose Gettysburg the way I'm playing Hearts of Iron 4. Yeah, so first off, I beat Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2. Took a little bit longer than I thought, and it was two reasons. One, of the 4 doors that you go in for before you get the Bowser fight. Two of them are awful, are god awful. I don't know how to beat the one. I seriously have no idea how you beat the one without taking damage. I have no idea. Unless if I'm missing something, there's one of them that I think is impossible. And then I just fucked up the other two a couple times. But, we eventually got through it. I was going to beat him one time, and then my platforming issues became a problem, and I missed the platform when I was avoiding the fireball. And I died. But what I did the next time I got to the final phase of that fight, is I legitimately jumped on that platform that was dead center with Bowser, and I just kept chucking eggs every time. I would stand, the egg person would come, I jump, do the tongue, grab the egg from the... No, I have not told them the new game yet. That'll be at the end of this, Tom. Yeah, so I basically was just like DPSing that I could hit him before he could get fireballs out. And, yeah, so that ended up working. So we have beat the baby game for babies. Yay, Mark. And we are moving on to another game. Final thoughts on it. It is a well-done game, which isn't surprising for late Super Nintendo. A lot of the games near the end of that Super Nintendo had figured out how to take advantage of the hardware, and Nintendo's always great at making games, end of life cycle for the consoles. And essentially, that's another one of this. So, yeah, definitely like probably 8.5 out of 10. I think there's some really unfair certain points that you can push through, which I eventually did, and kids probably did as well. But not as good as Super Mario World, which is one of my probably top 10 games of all time that I've beaten. But yeah, it was worth it. I'm glad to get it out of my backlog. So there it is. And as Tom got a little impatient in the chat on Twitch here, the new game for next week is, drum roll, Donkey Kong Country. Another game I have not beaten. And a platformer. So we had a discussion. Full disclosure, Tom spun a game, and I looked at how long it would take to beat that game, and since I'm setting a strict rule for the Monday streams, it would take entirely too long to beat that game on the 1 hour limit for Monday streams. It's a self-imposed limit, I know, but I'm putting it on there. Donkey Kong Country fits perfectly into that, that criteria. I could get 3 to 4 levels done, maybe a world if I'm on fire, and it crosses off another game from my backlog to beat. I played it a lot, never beat it. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country. You'll see that tonight if you're listening to this as part of the podcast or watching it on YouTube. Monday for those of you watching live on Twitch. So be on the lookout for that. And then Persona 3 got to the final twist of the game. We finally found out every Persona has a secret bad guy. And this one, to be honest, I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't see who the secret bad guy was. I'm not going to spoil it too much on here. We talked about it in the game, on the video. So if you missed it, go back and watch the archives. It'll be on YouTube probably sometime in the next couple days. But yeah, because actually probably be on YouTube tomorrow, I would say, because I may be able to play some more tomorrow, or meaning Saturday. I may be able to play some more. So I need to get that YouTube video up quickly just because the twist happens in it. Because we played 2 sessions on July 4th and got about 8 hours in or so. But I am mad at myself for not seeing the twist. I got so sucked into joking around about the little kid being the secret bad guy that I didn't realize who the actual secret bad guy was, and it's pretty obvious when you think about it. Because what you do in Persona games, and I'm being as vague as possible, most Persona games, or at least the 3 I played, to be honest, I didn't play 1 or 2, and I haven't played any of the other. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Any of the SMT games, at least to completion. But what they do is there's always a character in the game that is in the game and kind of just floats in and out. It's just background sometimes, and sometimes you interact with them, and they're part of the main story. Like, they're a part of everything that's going on, but they're not like a main character or anything. And there was one character in this game that fit the bill for that, and I didn't see it coming, and I'm kind of mad at myself when the twist occurs. And it's pretty obvious, because one thing Persona does, and it's really good at storytelling in this sense, is they will never introduce just somebody out of the blue in the third act as the big bad guy. Everybody that's usually introduced, like good storytelling, or I should say competent storytelling, doesn't have to be good, just to be competent you have to do this, is everybody that's involved in your story needs to have been introduced at some point before you introduce them as, as part of the twist. And they do a really good job of that. And I'm interested to see where it goes from here, because they left some things hanging, in terms of, the whole thing where people die off screen, and you're like, did they die? Where's this character at? Things like that. And you're like, oh, there's this other character that we haven't thought about for 20 hours. And just things like that I'm eager to get into. But the one thing for sure, because of something that happens in the game, I'm proud to say, I am not putting the kid into my party. He is not a part of my party unless they force me to, which, if they do, I am fucked. That guy is currently 17 levels below everyone else. He's the only one below 40. Everybody else is in their 50s or 60s at this point. And fuck them. Fuck them kids. I like the character that he fucks over more. So that's why we're doing that. So, I'm sticking to my guns. Literally, I have 3 party members, and the 4th one rotates. I have Takiba, because she's my healer. She has this great feat that she just got. I don't know if it's a feat of hers, or if it's a item that she has on or something. But to do, I mean, no cap. Yeah, so she has a feat where the medium, group heal, it only costs 1, point. And the major group heal costs 4 points. She has, 300 and something magic points. We'll call them magic points. I call them SP. I forget what the S stands for. But, she has that, so she's constantly in my party, because she's best healer we have. And then I'm keeping the good boy in the party. The doggo stays. So spoilers for anybody that doesn't know there's a dog in the game. But the doggo, good boy, stays in my party. So, yeah, that's where we're games. We're trying to play Nier. I'm going to test the thing I need to maybe do to have my PlayStation not overheat. Yeah, I've been playing Elden Ring for 15 hours the last 4 days out in the living room. Nothing. I came here and tried to play 30 minutes of Nier, shut off into rest mode every time. It's got to be something with the wire in here. Because it's in the same kind of setup. Same open setup. Everything's the same. It's on the same piece of wood. It's actually the other I use the old shelving to be pieces of wood to keep it off the carpet. The first shelf is out in the living room. Second shelf is below me here. Xbox has been on and been fine. If it's not the HDMI cord, I have no fucking idea what's going on here. So we might be out of playing PlayStation games. Like I said, I played Final Fantasy 16 with no problem. The only difference is that was when Tom told me to switch the HDMI cord so that the game goes to the TV up top instead of the computer going to the TV up top. So I wonder if I switch the cord HDMIs around and the wrong one is now coming out and fucking with the PlayStation, but not the Xbox. So we're going to test it out. But yeah, so that'd be Sunday's stream if we do it. But I did like the 20 minutes I played. I had some. It had some. Controls were great. Controls felt smooth. I understood immediately. Bullet hell stuff, and it was great. So, yeah. So that is what I've been playing. I am extra excited. The next 2 weeks, we're gonna probably finish up Persona. We're gonna be starting Nier, which I had a lot of fun with. Donkey Kong Country is gonna start. I'm gonna start going into the capital on Elden Ring to see what I can do there. And then NCAA football comes out. So, next 2 weeks are going to be great for me here. And then I have 2 trips planned in the middle of it because, yeah, fuck me, right? Been waiting for this game for 11 years. Go, oh, yeah, you got two trips you have to take. So, anyway, woe is me. So, yeah, let's move on to the news here. Just want to make sure everything is set up correctly. And yeah, so let's switch on over. And of course, we have to start with this story. The man who decided to sneak in a miniature Master Sword onto an airplane. He called it his fidget, which is something to keep his hands busy. But it is 6 inches, so that does make it illegal on planes. I believe you can't have anything over 2 or 4 or something like that, or none at all. Yeah, there are other fidget toys that are not 6 inches. So, yeah, this man is getting 4 months in prison over in the UK for this. But I just gotta say that's a pretty good Master Sword. But yeah, his yeah, that's what I thought. 4 inches. So yeah, this is England, I believe. Yeah, so they may be a little stricter, but yeah, this was funny. Yeah, these 2 things about it. One, his 2 reasonings to the cops made me laugh. One, he said it was his fidget, as I said, so something like keep his hands busy with it. What are you unsheathing it and sheathing? Like, what are you doing? What's the fidget part? Are you flipping it in your fingers, which could be dangerous for you, especially if it's a sharp blade? And 2, he was like, well, it was sheathed. Like, that makes a difference. Like, it couldn't be unsheathed at any point. Yeah, so Tom instantly sent this story to me. I had to be on the news hour. So Anthony Bray, we share the same love for Zelda, but I don't think I'd have the balls to carry a 6-inch blade onto a plane. Yeah, so moving on. As I mentioned, NCAA 14, College Football 25 shared a 17,000 word, 80-page document. Yes, I've read most of it, about the Dynasty mode. And Tom, I just want to sleep for 2 weeks. Like, literally, I just want to go to sleep and wake up on July 19th. This game is going to take over my life, even if I I feel like there was a moment at one point. Now this is an old Mark story from late '90s. I don't know if Mark had heard a commercial or read somewhere or something, but one day he just said to his family or mom or something, yeah, it'd be great if the next Madden game lets you do like signings and free agency and stuff instead of just one season. Do multiple seasons. That'd be awesome. And that was right before, I think it's Madden 98 or 99 that first brought in doing multiple seasons of franchise mode. So I'm watching this stuff that they're putting on here, and I'm like, this is everything that I have wanted from a Dynasty mode ever. And we'll go through it fairly quickly so you don't have to read the 80-page document. There's 3 main types of coaches, and your coach thing is very, very important. Like, it ties into everything. So, you know, and it's not one you can't min-max. So you have to basically follow a path. You can either be great at one thing or good at everything and not really have an advantage. You're just good at everything. So you won't get fired, but you won't be able to maybe become Nick Saban. So motivator, you know, recruiter, tactician. Your assistant coaches also have these traits. I feel you can match up. You can have 2 of you can be good recruiters, and then you can have like one of your assistants be a great motivator or a great tactician. You know, sort of blend that way and sort of figure it out. I think this coaching thing is going to be so much fun to do. And there's, I don't know if this has everything in it, but yeah, there's a customization in the sense that, you know, the different kind of pitches, and I watched an hour and 20-minute video also on all this. So I'm trying to truncate this for everyone here. You know, it's not about, you can't just, when you're not at prestigious school, oh, okay. Update on the blade length thing. UK is 3 inches, so this guy doubled it. Yeah, and it specifically bans a bunch of weapons, including the Kusarima? I'm terrible at pronouncing things when I don't hear it. But yeah. So anyway, back to college football. So you have to know, like, stay in your lane until you build up your program. Now, if you start out as an Ohio State or an Alabama or a Michigan, you can go get the big guys real quickly. They brought a bunch of things back. Sickle and chain at Ninja Shoes. Okay. It's funny that they had that specifically in there. That means there was an incident. So yeah, you have to know what you're recruiting. Pay attention to what their deal breakers are, what they're looking for in your school. You know, a lot more in depth. Like, it has a lot of the stuff from 14, but a lot more in depth to where you need to pay attention. But they also take a little bit of the in depth out by when it's a set it and forget it. If you're like, okay, I'm going after this quarterback. Here are the set things he wants to hear from me. I want to email him every week. I want to DM him every week. You know, I want to, you know, talk to his parents after every game just to get an update on him. You know, all that stuff. You can just set it and forget it, and up until they need a visit, and then that's a whole nother thing that opens. So that's real good there. And then the fun part is, you know, you have to keep everybody happy, or the transfer portal occurs. So it makes you have to pay attention to how good players are. It don't have too many good players in a thing. You can't do like I would do in NCAA 14, where I would line up quarterbacks for one every year. So by the end, everybody would start as a senior and be a 99 for my quarterback. You can't do that. You have to. That's why you probably need a motivator or a tactician or somebody to get the best out of your guy, because you might need to have a 4-star quarterback as your backup because they're not going to transfer. And you just need to build that guy up. Or a 3-star and build him up. You get your 5-star, you get a 3, just sort of mix and match and make it work. And in the transfer portal, one of the 2 things I really love about the transfer portal is that, it's easy. It's a good way for your smaller programs, your 3-stars and all, to sort of build up quickly and sort of get their brand and stuff up to be able to get the higher recruits. And it also gives a way for those schools that if you recruited somebody and lost out on them, they'll remember that you went after them and give you priority over other schools if you have what they're looking for. So, a lot of memory in the game. So all that stuff, you watch the videos, watch the deep dive, or read the deep dive. And just 2 quick stat things I love. They're going to keep track of records. Now, they used to do NCAA and team, but now they're doing conference records, which is a whole nother layer, which is fun. Especially since you can customize conferences. So, that'll be fun to do that stuff. And just have all the stats stuff. Will keep your, I think it's 10 years. It keeps 10 years of your coach's stats, so you can see your record for the past 10 years. And all your accomplishments. So yeah, I'm excited, beyond excited. I'm probably going to start as my alma mater, Penn State, and then maybe do a weird school after. Maybe I'll play a few years, get the atmosphere of being at a big time school. Maybe I'll have some fun and do I'll be an OC at a smaller school and build my way up to, coaching a Power 5 team, any Power 5 team, and just work it up naturally and just see how that feels. So a lot of options. I'm excited. So we'll probably be talking a lot about this game as it goes along. And for those of you that haven't been out and about, Games Done Quick has been going on. Summer Games Done Quick. And the thing that made me smile the most this week was this guy has his dog, can play games with him. They did Gyromite, the Rob Robot game for the NES. And this week he played the MLB game for Super Nintendo. And ended up hitting a 2-run walk-off home run to win the game, the dog. And the way it was fun to watch, and how excited everybody got when he hit this ball to win the game. And as you can see on the screen, in the bottom of the 12th. So yeah, go watch this clip. It's real fun. The whole segment's great if you want to watch it. But yeah, this guy and his dog. His name is Peanut Butter. He made it to Minneapolis this year, where it's being held, and they didn't do it remotely. So yeah, it's really fun. So I just wanted to mention that. And also, just as a thing, for those of you watching live, you got 2 more days of Summer Games Done Quick, so being to jump out. And also a reminder, if you had forgotten that it was going on, go back and watch the archives of the games you'd like to watch. Be speed run. Yeah. Next up, this is for Jenny. The Horizon Zero Dawn TV show is no longer moving forward at Netflix. So, womp womp. And it was all because the Umbrella Academy speedrunner Steve Blackman, and I don't think it's that Steve Blackman, Tom, had a toxic, bully, and manipulative and retaliatory behavior when he was on the Umbrella Academy. So they decided not to move forward with him doing the Horizon Zero Dawn series, which is unfortunate. I think Horizon is one of the series you could do a pretty good game for, or a pretty good movie for, or TV show. Like it could have Last of Us type potential in terms of a lot of story to tell in there. But yeah, so unfortunately, no Horizon Zero Dawn TV show. So we can't have more people get upset about Aloy in a different medium. Next up, Capcom did a big thing this week and revealed details. The most important one, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is being released on September 18th. The unfortunate thing is that the voice actor was not asked back for this, so it'll feel a little bit different. But for those of you that didn't play Dead Rising, it has a unique like New Game Plus type system in there. It's zombies in the mall where you can make weapons out of anything. It's kind of fun. It was the first of its kind before that stuff became popular. But yeah, so hopefully this is a trial run to see if a new Dead Rising or a reboot or something will be in the cards going forward. Next up, we have a game. This is news for me. Satisfactory, which is a game where you basically are building you go down to a planet and you basically have to mine for materials and stuff and sort of store it and then build this big facility on this planet and sort of interconnect it and have your systems run automatically. And it's so, as the title says, it's such a satisfying gameplay loop. Once you get your systems up and running, and you have this is my iron producing section, this is my coal, this is my copper, my gold's over here, this is the stuff producing all my wires, this is the stuff producing all my springs and coils, and this is the stuff producing my alloys, and and you get all that stuff, and it's going, and you see the conveyor belts running, and the things are going into the storage units, you're emptying the storage, and the storage units are emptying into other things, going to places where, and you just get this whole automated thing, and it's just beautiful once it works. So, finally going to 1.0, a full game. I am excited to jump back in on September 10th. This was one of the games when I was mentioning that September games are where I'll start having things to play that are not NCAA football. Will be coming out. This is going to be one of those games. So, yes, Satisfactory. After 5 years, leaving early access, going 1.0. I love it. I love it a lot. Next up, Crazy Taxi Reboot is open world and massively multiplayer, according to Sega. So, I guess one thing is I assumed. In this day and age, I assumed it was going to be open world. It's practically open world anyway. The arcade game, but it's essentially an arcade game. So I can see why they would go open world with this. So it's the massively multiplayer thing that I don't get. I don't know why you'd want to have a bunch of crazy taxis running around. Maybe it'll be fun, but I don't see the pleasure in it. As long as crazy taxis in there, and you get the Offspring to do the soundtrack, that's all I need. But yeah, so we're starting to get slowly but surely news on all these games that Sega announced at Game Awards, I think it was. The Game Awards. Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi. So, it's starting to come along what exactly they're doing with each, and, some are getting exciting, some not so much. But, yeah, it's going to be fun to have all these games back, because I loved 4 of the 5 of them. I didn't play much Jet Set Radio, but, yeah, the other 4, I did play a lot of, so... I'm excited for those. And also to play Jet Set Radio. And finally, as always, we end these things whenever I get a new Game Pass PlayStation Plus lineup. So for Microsoft Game Pass, Wave 1 for July, you're getting Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. On July 3rd, it's All-Stars Brawl 2. So you get, as you see in these screenshots here, you get Jimmy Neutron. You get some stages here, which I think that's Turtles. I think that's Turtles. But you get Squidward. You know, just Smash Brothers for Nintendo characters. And then July 9th, so this came out a couple days ago. July 9th, you get Cricket 24. So if you want to jump in there and try and figure out Cricket, you have a video game to do it. And it's, you know, go through the tutorial and maybe understand the sport. Something I would jump into if I had a lot of time. There. And then the other ones, The Case of the Golden Idol. It's a point-and-click detective game. And then Neon White, which was an obsession of ours, I think 2 years ago at this point, with Jen and me going back and forth on our records. That'll be on Game Pass. I can't see how that game is good with the controller. But, yeah, to each their own. Chia, which was a, you know, critically acclaimed game, if you want to check that out. Magical Delicacy, another pixel art type game there. And then rounding out Flock. And a bunch of these are for PC. And I wonder if Neon White will have cross-save? Because that'd be cool. Because I could download that since I already have the other one and maybe jump back in. I don't know. But of this list, probably the only one I would download for any reason would be Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl to just mess around with family and friends. And like I said, for at least a day or two, Cricket 24, just to see if I can learn how to play cricket. On the flip side, the game's leaving Game Pass on July 15th. We have Coffee Talk Episode 2, Figment 2, Sins of the Solar Empire, Toem, and The Wandering Village. So, be on the lookout for those. Yeah, that should do it. Like I said, light news this week. There wasn't anything for me to vent on. There was a whole discussion about a pause button in Elden Ring, which, to be honest, I don't have enough energy to yell about it that, yes, there should be a pause button, because there is technically a pause button in the game. You just have to go down 3 menus to get the game to pause. So I don't know how it would make the game easier or change the difficulty of the game to just be able to press start to pause if I have to run to the bathroom. You know, I shouldn't have to decide between beating a boss or going to the bathroom in my pants. Like, I shouldn't have to make that decision. That is a stupid thing to be in a game. Especially if you're playing offline. I could see disabling the pause button if you're playing online for invasions. Oh yeah, I'm talking like in the middle of a fight. Like if I'm in the middle of a boss fight. And just all of a sudden, I have to go. Like, just being able to press start would be great. Also, people with kids out of nowhere might have a kid run into the room. I just don't get, like, if you're playing offline without any invasions, I don't see why a dedicated pause button should be an issue. But that can be a discussion we can have with people. But I can hear disabled pause for online. But yeah. Anyway, didn't want to get off into much of a rant. But thank you for joining me. We'll go back to Big Mark here. We will be back, like I said, tomorrow with Persona 3, most likely. And then Sunday, we're going to try Nier again. And then Monday for Donkey Kong Country. So, be on the lookout for that. Yeah, that'll do it. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully, you're having a good holiday weekend so far and haven't Pierre Paul'd yourself this weekend. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. And we'll see you next time. Bye.